Hello my loves and welcome back to another video. Today's video I want to talk about my birth story. I had Maya at 41 weeks and 1 day pregnant. We were trying to get induced beforehand, but it wasn't possible. The hospital was super busy. So when we finally got the call on August 10th at 6 p.m. to go into the hospital, we stopped everything we were doing. We were currently in the middle of making dinner and we went to the hospital. The car was already completely packed because they had scheduled me a day previous but weren't able to get me in, so we were all ready to go. We got to the hospital about 7 p.m. because there was a lot of traffic because of the Clark County Fair and road construction. From 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. it was all check-in and paperwork and going over my birth plan. At 10 p.m. on August 10th, I had a Cook's balloon placed. I was about half a centimeter dilated, was not effaced at all. I was at a -3 and not softened, which made a huge difference in the pain level of putting in the Cook's balloon. I hardly felt it with Carter since I was completely softened. However, this time, the Cook's balloon was probably the most painful experience of this birth. Once it was placed and it was in for about an hour, the pain went down. From there, I had the Cook's balloon in for 8 hours when I actually started leaking. Since I had all the liquids and things comes out, the nurse thought that the Cook's balloon was ready to come out, so I gave it a tug and nothing. However, I had mentioned to her that the previous pregnancy, the Cook's balloon did not fall out on its own because of the position of the baby and my placenta and everything. So it was most likely ready to come out at this time, but the same thing ended up happening. It didn't come out on its own. We had to take it out. So I had the Cook's balloon in for 14 hours before they were willing to try to take it out on their own. And I probably would have progressed faster if we had taken it out previously. But from here, things started to go really, really quick. So the Cook's balloon came out. When it came out, I was 5 centimeters dilated and I was pretty much completely softened. Baby was still at -3. This is when I decided to get some rest. The contractions were getting stronger and closer together. I was probably asleep for an hour after the Cook's balloon was taken out when the contractions got so bad and painful. I was shaking, I was crying, I was in so much pain. I called in the nurse and I said, I need to do something about this, so can we try to take a bath? And then if that helps my contractions, great. If not, I'm getting the epidural because this is absolutely awful. So I was in the bath for about 10 minutes, and personally, the bath made my contractions 100 times worse. No thank you, I wanted out. I had Casey help me out of the bath. The nurse came back and I said I want the epidural. At this time, I was still 5 centimeters dilated, at -3 and softened. It took probably 20 minutes to get the epidural, and I didn't feel the epidural at all this time. It was almost completely painless except for the numbing shot, which was fantastic. However, it did take a couple minutes after for it to take effect, and I was just besides myself. I was frantic, just shaking, saying no, 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 and I was like, I just can't do this. However, once the epidural kicked in, I was able to relax and get some rest. An hour after I got the epidural, my water broke. The nurse said that's probably why I was feeling so much pressure, why the contractions were so painful, is because it was really ready to pop. However, she said that usually you may feel a little bit of relief. After that water break, it gets worse. So I was extremely thankful that I got the epidural when I did, because I couldn't get it after this. An hour after my water broke, it was probably about 2 a.m.-ish. I was feeling a lot of pressure, but I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to try to get more rest and for Casey to get some rest. However, it got to a point where I couldn't keep myself together. So I said, hey, I'm feeling a lot of pressure. She checked me and she said, oh, we are ready to go. Getting the epidural to 2 hours later, I went from 5 centimeters dilated to completely ready to push and have a baby. It was extremely calm and just an amazing experience. The room was dim, and every time there was a contraction, I knew what to do, and I pushed. At first I was pushing a little too soon, but then once I really stopped and was able to listen to my body, I was able to push on my own. I didn't really need any assistance. I had them help me count down the contractions. After a couple of pushes, her hair started to come out, and the nurse was just so excited that there was so much hair, and she's like, oh my gosh, do you want to see? I'm gonna get a mirror. And I was like, yeah, I think I would like to see. And honestly, I would have been terrified to do that in the past, but it was a good choice. So I thought she was gonna come in with a little hand mirror and hand it to me and I could look and it would be great. No, she came in with a full-on rolling body mirror and placed it right in front of me. And I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I told her, I was like, I literally thought you were just gonna bring me a hand mirror. She's like, no girl, we have this and you're going to use it. Which I'm thankful she did, because I didn't know I wanted to see it, but I did. And so being able to see all of that was literally the coolest thing ever. But after about 2 hours of pushing, at 5:01 a.m. on August 12th, I had Maya, and she weighed 7 pounds, 11 ounces, and was about 21 inches long. The hospital doesn't really let you film, so I do have a birth vlog available, but it doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of pushing and everything like that because the hospital just didn't allow it. I'm so happy that I was able to have a successful VBAC and that I felt very little pain. I did get a 2nd-degree tear, which took about an hour for them to stitch up, and it was just zigzagging all over the place. And I think that's the longest thing that took me to heal. However, I didn't really feel any burning or pressure or anything. I felt amazing, and I honestly didn't think I would feel that great, especially having a C-section with my first baby and having to recover over a period of 3 months to even the whole year. So that is my birth story. It was peaceful, it was enjoyable. I loved every second of it, even the pain. I wanted the pain. I hope that if you're pregnant, if your wife's pregnant, if you've been pregnant in the past or planning to be pregnant, that you get to go through those things healthy and successfully. I love every single one of you, and I'll see you in another video.